on, stranger. Where do you think you're going?
We came to talk to whoever's in charge.
I'm in charge here, human. What do you want?
I'm authorized to negotiate on behalf of the town. I'm willing to share your camp with our operation.
You want to draw attention to my camp and risk our lives? For what? What will you give us in return?
It can't be easy to get things way out here. We can trade some of our supplies for the use of your base. You'd also have our protection.
I accept your reasonable offer. Just
I'm
don't
sure it's
make
not much
me
farther.
regret this.
I tell you, this ritual is mentioned in numerous texts as a powerful countermeasure. I believe it can drive the Orients back.
You have obviously misinterpreted your research. Yours is a foolhardy plan with no chance of success. If such a method of deterring the undead existed, we Asura would have already discovered it. I refuse to believe it could be found in human knowledge.
Your faith in your people is impressive. Still, I must try. The ritual must be performed near water, and I believe the nearby beach is ideal.
Christ, I'm trying to wave here. Part 107 out in the depths and nightmarish, horrible areas of the Cursed Shore. This is literally where we're logging back in after having just finished the last mission, where unfortunately our new friend and pilot, Arda Steelstrike, was found to have been left fending for herself for way too long and succumbs to the danger of the Risen. So today's episode is pretty huge. Now, you'll notice I opened with a clip of a dynamic event way back up north in the now comparatively much more sunny and happy areas of the Blood-Tide coast. I actually was looking for another clip of another dynamic event for the start of this video as well, but after spending about an hour trying to get it to proc, I couldn't. That would have been in the Brisbane Wildlands that Caraflower visited long ago as well, in which we hear of a Priory research team casting a ritual over there. So the next story step is going to have us joining Traherne, who will tell us that he's found a way with the Priory to cleanse ore. But Gildor 2 doesn't really justify where that comes from, and in a big way, I find that a convenient solution kind of manufactured from nowhere to suddenly shift the story into its last gear, and that disappoints me greatly with the plot here. Maybe you guys have got a good explanation or answer as to where this came from or what galvanizes it. Obviously, a lot of the Orient story arcs have been suggesting at stories we don't see, and so I'm perfectly okay with this, but this feels like a really important thing that should have been telegraphed more throughout the rest of the game. But I opened today's video with that dynamic event because there are a couple of places throughout the core game we do hear about the Priory looking at various rituals, and I think that one at Blood-Tide Coast all the way back up here at Bogside Camp is probably the most interesting of all, because they even talk about how that ritual needs water. Try and bear that in mind. So I like to think through all this collective knowledge, eventually the Priory have figured something out, and Traherne's plan is now go, alright? So you would have thought we'd kill the Elder Dragon before cleansing this land. Certainly they've suggested so far that cleansing the land is harder than the Elder Dragon, and now it looks like the time instead is to cleanse first. We'll see how the plan goes. It is coming at a good point though, because as dangerous as this area is right now, we've done a lot to break into ore now. Massive offensives. The war we have seen demonstrated and played out in a great number of ways, and I think very satisfying ways at that. So now it makes sense we start looking at the more emotional story of Traherne and whatnot. So, yeah, here we are. Before we get started with that mission, I do want to go into this labyrinth. I also want to kill this wizard. I just saw we had a player with us. Here we go. So let's kill this wizard. I got a ton of minions with me. We should be fine. This thing's only a veteran after all, and with this ally with us, we should be fine. There you go. She's telling us to embrace death.
Is power.
Oh, corruption is power. I completely agree. Struggle against the tide.
Devours.
Oh, darkness devours? There's so many necromancy things that character just said that Caraflower would totally understand. But yeah, so we kill this character, and they're standing next to this mysterious stone here. Very strange. But yeah, all right. So let's go into Winterknell Isles Labyrinth here. And this, to me, I've mentioned many times in Ore, I love the place names, I love the point of interest names and all that kind of stuff. This is kind of the most iconic of them to me. There's pretty much no... Oh, we got to find the entrance. Christ, these are the walls around the outside. Where is actually the way in? Oh, we were right next to it when we logged in. Okay, hold on. We'll come up this way. This is the most iconic to me. In that it's just such an exciting sounding place. First of all, the whole idea that this was an isle once, right? We can see that it's kind of surrounded by water, but only a little bit. But then when we get inside, it's just so enticing to wonder what it really all means and what the true history of this place would be. I would love to see like a Guild Wars 3 or, you know, a game within this IP that's not necessarily even called Guild Wars or something, but gives us a real glimpse of ore or something set in a location like this. I've talked about a bestiary a couple of times on this Let's Play series, and to tell you the truth, I have concepted bestiaries out before, and one of my favorite things to do was to take an obscure Orion enemy in the game, one of the dragons, and to suggest that it came from this labyrinth. But you know, there's no official law really supporting any of this. But check it out. At the entrance of the maze, we have this campfire that the embers in this fire pit seem fresh. And as we wander in, you're going to find lots of interactables suggesting someone came in here before us and got pretty hurt. You might have been trained at this point as a player to run past enemies in the open world as much as possible, kind of get to the next point of interest or the next vista. But here's the thing, in this labyrinth, because we're going to double back on ourselves a lot, like we'll be behind this wall later, what will actually happen is these enemies won't leave you alone, because you're going to kind of be stood near where they like to patrol and hang out. And if you don't kill them as you go, they'll pile up and up and up and up. And all of a sudden, the deeper you get in, you'll notice you start finding more dangerous ones, like this veteran here. And later, you might even find an elite. Look, there's a champion around one of these corners, the champion risen groundskeeper. So you do want to be very careful of this and actually make sure you kill things. One of the other reasons I really wanted to come here today with you guys is because a long time ago as well, I actually made a video about Necromancer and how weak blood magic was at launch. And I talked about all kinds of problems that used to exist with blood magic. Blood magic now is awesome, and nearly every single one of those problems has been solved. But where I shot that video and that discourse about it was here in this labyrinth. Anyway, so Metal Helm. This helmet lies abandoned. So which direction do we want to go? Try and avoid the temptation to cheat here. I'll note that that groundskeeper just took a tiny bit of damage, and I can see on my minimap that there is a human, a player inside the labyrinth right now who just died. So some poor soul actually came in here before I started recording this video, and I really want to save his life, but we're too late. So I'm probably not going to go in there at all. So check it out, the Winterknell Labyrinth. Like, why is this here? What did the Orions use this for? Was it for leisure? Was it for some, you know, grander purpose? Here we've got a sleeping mat. An unrolled camping mat is laid out here. Again, imagine we're like half a day into the labyrinth now. Just walls upon walls upon walls, and now some guys had to camp out in here. You know, in waiting. The main reason most people will come, I think we've lucked into it, you know, guys. Yeah, most people come here because they're looking for this hero challenge. So this hero challenge, right, is guarded by this risen Rotmoth and a risen Putrefier. So normally, when you find a hero challenge that's guarded by a veteran, that hero challenge is like a commune. It's a place of power that you stand at and, you know, you draw strength from. That's usually the situation. However, on this one, it's actually a battle that is also guarded by a veteran. So if you run by and press F on this, you'll have the veteran to fight and the challenge itself, okay? So everything's on respawn right now. We will probably want to be quite quick. Look at this. An ancient Orion sword lies here. What a strange place for such a valuable weapon. Well, we can investigate, and it stands up and tries to beat us up. So yeah, this is a thing and all. We haven't really talked enough about these, but this is one of the varieties of enemies you find. These animated weapons, are they actually minions of Zhaitan? Well, some instances and some places suggest so. Others suggest it's ore, man, and there's a lot of magic around and a lot of danger around. So, yeah, anyway, we'll try and cleave him down before too much stuff respawns. You'll notice while I was in Death Shroud there and I used my skill 5, we tethered through the wall. That means I've actually aggroed things elsewhere in the labyrinth right now. And if we're unlucky, it would have put us in combat and we won't be able to flee. No, we're good. So, yeah, there you go. Cool little hero challenge, adventure, and there is a hidden champion in the side chamber there as well. But I'm too chicken to actually deal with that. Right. So, with all of that said, we're going to now move down to Meddlers, which hopefully you've seen Deborah has shown how the Pact actually pushed through this map and claim Meddlers. Meddlers is the one place within the Cursed Shore in the Southern Reaches that is guaranteed to be under Pact control. It's the last safe haven in the game, and it's where the final act of the game begins with Against the Corruption. This is honestly such a brilliant endgame map, isn't it? They've managed to make it feel oppressive and dire and scary, but also beautiful and pleasant to look at. It's also got a really extreme day-night cycle, and I wonder if the devs specifically did it with an extreme day-night cycle, knowing players would appreciate it more, anticipating we'd spend a lot of time here. Look at this, a risen bull. I wonder if they did that deliberately. But I think this whole place is gorgeous. So back at the village of Ewan here, and the scriptures of Melandru, where this was referred to. And there's Meddlers, shining right at the end. Oh, so what have we got? Well, actually a lot of really cool NPCs here that were kind of referenced in the Dream of Ore. Let's see. So first of all, Makil the Immortal. He says, I hope these pack supplies are worth all this trouble.
See this.
No. You can't just come limping in here whenever you hit a spot of trouble with the Risen on your heels.
Where would you have us go? We're injured, need aid, and you're the only other living people here.
Fine. Just hurry up and get inside. We'll deal with your problems this time.
It seems unlikely.
This is awesome. Okay, so we're going to clear this out. I was going to use him as a karma vendor. Yeah, he's actually associated with some events in the area. Several spiral out of this camp, but it's not to do with actually capturing it or whatnot. So anyway, yeah, you got Makil the Immortal, who is associated with a couple of events, and we got to try and clear these Risen out that have just been dragged here from a packed squad. I'll take everyone in. In a weird way, I'm a little bit like a refugee coming here as well. I want somewhere safe. This entire episode's been non-stop fighting Risen and keeping them off of our backs. So yeah, we'll rip those down. Looks pretty good to me. We get some powerful blood from that as well. And you get everybody. So yeah, you got this guy. And actually, if I remember rightly, a weird bit of trivia, one of the early designs for this place had a lot of NPCs that were named after prominent members of the community. But I think that changed by the end. So yeah, anyway, he stands back here. He says, I hope these pack supplies are worth all this trouble. Provisions won't save us if we draw Risen attention to our camp. And we can say, coward, aren't you proud to be helping the fight? I'm not going to do that. Caraflat wouldn't say that. Why are you out here if you're not one of the Pact invasion force? Yeah, so he's just like a lone agent here? Wow. Well, his answer to that is, coming to the graveyard of the immortal human gods seemed an ironic and amusing way to prove my own title. The Graveyard of the Immortals. Man, that should be like a name of a novel or something, right? How did you come by your immortal title? I survived 3 warbands in my years at the edge of the brand. Everyone around the steps started calling me immortal. Damn. Wait, so he lost like 3 families, essentially? That's pretty sad. And what, now he's a gladium, he's pushed out on his own? I like this. He hasn't joined the Pact, because the Pact seem more interested in Zaitan right now. And as a Char, he cares more about Kralkatorrik, it seems. But just on a whim, he comes over. Basically, you only get the most big, badass, awesome of NPCs here at the end. You sound like you were a good soldier. Why did you leave? You misunderstand. The title was no honor. The others thought I must be a coward who survived by fleeing trouble. I see. Sorry to open old wounds. Wow. I call him badass. I'm sure he's not a coward. I'm sure, guys. Anyway, so who else we got? We got some Sylvari. Look, this guy called Darthar. And his flavor text there said, Dirty Fighter. Fuel is a limited resource out here. Do us a favor and don't spill any. I'll try and stay out of your way. I like that. Oh my god, a chopper just came down. Look at this!
We'll take it from here. Let's get the wounded into our chopper.
Oh, these are the wounded that we just saw coming through the door. Ah, they're loading their way in.
Anything different might happen today.
You know what would be different? If you left me alone.
Those two are constantly offering snark to one another, and I really want to see this fly off now as well. I wonder maybe it won't do it very quickly. What do you have to say? Oh, actually nothing.
Well met.
She's just a champion crusader. Oh, there you go. She just boarded it. Maybe she'll leave now. All right. We were going to speak to you, though, Zeta Clench Fist. What do you want? Keep your hands to yourself and watch your step. The last thing we need is someone drawing even more walking corpses into our camp. Okay, understood. It's ironic she says that to us as a minion monster, no? Well, we do get a hero challenge. Hey, you're not from here. Are you packed? Absolutely. Good to see a reliably friendly face. You want to help me out? Oh, there you go. Off it goes. Oh. There's a dragon I'm looking at there. There's the helicopter. It's going to move. You want to help me out? I need to keep up my image as a tough guy, and I'd much rather brawl with someone I know won't slip my throat afterwards. You in? Wait, so is the whole idea lots of these guys are non-packed? Like, this guy's not wearing packed stuff. This guy isn't wearing packed stuff. They're just a lot of them just sort of general heroes that came out here. There's definitely members, though. This is the Priory in Order of Whispers. But yeah, so this guy wants to practice. Good late-game hero challenge. Learn a bit more about being a Necro. Always willing to thrash a fellow Pact-D. Pact-D. What a weird phrase that is. So they just stealthed. So my spell wasn't actually going to work there. I'm literally just going to blow my minions up. Oh, God. We really nuke now with Putrid Explosion, eh? I really want a way to make a Necro build that's all about Putrid Explosion. But I don't really know how to do it in a really fun and reliable, interesting way. But hey, okay. Sorry, Fortuna, to kick your ass so decidedly and so quickly. We ourselves have to get pretty strong to get this far. So you got Jinx Lockwood here. Please, I have enough to deal with without someone new nagging me. Can I just ask you something? Why does everyone think I'm the local expert? Well, go on, let's hear it. What can you tell me about your leader? McKeel? If you believe the stories, he's almost invincible. All I know is that he's kept us alive here so far. Oh, so he's your leader. Tell me about this camp of yours. Well, welcome to Meddler Summit. We invaded Ore ahead of the Pact, seeking thrills and plunder on these shores. What are these badasses? What about you? What's your story? I'm tired of my boss getting fat off my deals, and so I borrowed some of his holdings to start my own venture, as far away from it as possible. So they're like thugs and pirates and bad guys, really. Anti-heroes. What is this place that you set up camp in? Well, this was Arar, capital city of Ore. One time home of the gods, now lair of the dragon. Stay on this side of those walls. Well, she says this is Arar. She's not actually... I like how she says she doesn't know the local area very well and then makes a blatant mistake. This isn't Arar at all. We haven't even passed the promenade of the gods yet. That wall, though, that she's talking about, Arar's on the other side of that. One more thing. What's the Pact doing here? Well, they made a deal recently to use our camp for a share of their supplies as they get ready to take on Zaitan himself. Interesting. Thanks for the information. And indeed, this is where the last meta chain starts from. So we get a merchant here. Got this guy, Crusader Bailey.
We fight because we must.
Have you noticed that? The air, the way it feels here. What do you mean? The air just feels thicker, harder to breathe. I first noticed it back at Kaer Shadowfane, and the further south we push, the worse it gets. It's like the air itself could choke you to death. Why do you think that is? The stench of the dragon, the prevalence of death here, the suffocating crush of doom. I don't know. But one way or another, this has got to end soon. I think...
The ebb and flow of this battle wears on you.
The constant back and forth is exhausting. I've changed my billet more often than my uniform.
If we're ever going to hold the outlying sectors for more than a day, we'll need help.
Well, look, you got a bit of help from these guys. I seriously doubt they managed to truly attack Ore early. Something extra must be going on here. Well, we got a raider, we got a scout who will talk more about the meta and the assault on Arar, which we're not too interested in just yet. We want to meet up with Traherne. But here's probably my favorite NPC in the whole area. It's a guy called McLean the Minstrel. So, as you guys know, the original vanilla soundtrack was composed by Jeremy Soule, by and large. However, another guy working there, McLean Deemer, did a ton of work on the soundtrack, and I'm sure many other people too, but he's kind of one of the main people I know about. Anyway, this is an NPC to represent him. He is currently, to this date, still scoring Guild Wars 2 soundtrack stuff and does an amazing job. I actually think the sounds and the music specifically get way, way, way better in the story after Core, and McLean is like a big, big reason for that. Anyway, so here, right at the last outpost of the game, he gets an NPC named after him, McLean the Minstrel.
You seem friendly.
And he says, "Welcome, traveller, to our humble encampment. What's your story? You the entertainment for this camp? I'm called McLean. Surely you've heard of me. I sang for the Queen at Lord Cordicus's manor once. Shame how that party ended." So this is a really amazing line, right? Because it suggests, basically, he was in the story dungeon for Cordicus's manor. However, as far as I remember, he's not actually there. I mean, obviously there was music and stuff, but we don't get to see him explicitly as an NPC, which is a bit of a shame. However, we have seen him in the story before. The Dream replicated an exact version of him in this camp when we had that early vision. So, you know, this is kind of our second vision, kind of. But this is the real one that we're seeing now. So, even better though, we get our Ferocious, Dignity, or Charming option. And if you notice, we actually ask him to play a song. So, Caraflower will go Dignity here. Music would be the perfect thing to lift the spirits here. Please, sing for us. And he says, "I fear the joy of my song would seem inappropriate here. I couldn't possibly do anything so unseemly. A true master can lift hearts through song. I'm sure you could do as much." It's true. I can do at least that much. Since you insist, I will sing for you. And check it out. I insist, sing for us.
quit your caterwauling. I've heard drunken moot halls that sounded better.
You rude cow. My singing is in demand at all the finest venues.
Minstrel, you're loud enough to wake the dead, and that's the last thing we need around here.
I wouldn't expect an uneducated swine like her to appreciate my singing prowess.
So there you go. It's like a mini cutscene that you can only trigger by going through the dialogue there. Makes this Asura laugh and everything. It's so cool. Now, the music you're hearing there, actually, when the game was coming out, the devs slowly revealed what each of the professions were. When it came time for it to be the Mesmer profession, which is all to do with illusions and stuff, when you went to the website on release day for the Mesmer, instead of seeing the Mesmer, it instead said that one of the professions was going to be the minstrel. And you clicked it like, wow, Guild Wars 2's going to have a minstrel profession. And the minstrel starts singing before shattering and then revealing the mesmer in truth. But the singing on the website when that reveal happened, that was this song that they now play in-game here. So there's like a whole story going on with this. And obviously the idea of getting him to sing when we're trying to be sneaky about the Risen on the borders of Ara is not a very good idea. We can also say here, what's a minstrel doing way out here? True art must be unbound, free to travel where it will, or it is not art at all. You expect me to believe your art brought you to Or? It was a good time for me to spread word of my prowess. My talents were desired by many, including some married to important people. That's more believable. Are you really that talented? And then there you go. He goes to that other little bit of dialogue. So what a fantastic NPC and a nice treat, right? Because this guy has no icon. At this point in the game, people are only going to repair vendors. They're only going to merchants, karma vendors. They're not taking the time anymore. And so this is a nice treat. If you're still taking the time to speak to real NPCs and figure out what they have to say, you can get meaningful stuff out of it. And I love that. Here we got another member of these crazy guys that got here to Or before us, apparently. Lots of folks enjoy meeting new people. Not me. I despise new people. And the people who enjoy meeting new people. Wow. Why so belligerent? This is Meddler's Cove. What do you expect? Maybe less hostile welcome? You want a warm bed? Go to a Lion Guard Haven. You want all the food and drink you can keep down? Go to a Norn Moot. You want companionship? Go to my sister's place in the Citadel. You want nice? Just go. I understand the rules, thanks. Good little opportunity to hear about lots of other areas interior here as well. So these guys have been jabbering away the whole time we've been here, but we can't actually press F on them. We got this character here sitting down, Harla Corpse Slayer. She actually is a part of a dynamic event that sometimes triggers here. And finally, there's Diz, who looks like an Inquest member, to be honest. I advise you don't turn your back on anyone during your stay at Meddler's Summit. Of course, whenever you turn to face anyone, you're turning your back on everyone else. Something to think about. Wait, what happened to make you become a ne'er-do-well? I used to head a research team at Incoptics. After 5 years of trial and error, we were on the verge of making a mind-boggling breakthrough in golem technology. What was the big breakthrough? I don't know. Bandits broke into my lab and stole all my data, sold my secrets to the Inquest, and retired to wherever bandits retired to. And I went back to the drawing board at a researcher's salary. So here, this is cool because we actually know in Brisbane, there is that interplay of bandits living near Inquest. That didn't make you angry at those wastrels? I wasn't angry, I was humbled. Those unkempt, unschooled, unwashed hoodlums bested me, a College of Statics graduate, and they taught me a valuable lesson. Crime pays, science blows. Wow, I think you may have learned the wrong lesson there. So, yeah, there you go. That's Meddler's. Nearby, you'll notice that there is an Ooze King on that plateau. And indeed, that is how the Ooze rank themselves as kings. You find kings, queens, emperors. It's quite funny, really. I'm not going to be anywhere near strong enough to fight that, so we're going to keep away from it. But that's fine, because all we actually have to do is come here to meet Trahan and enter Act 3.
This is the tomb of the kings of Or. Walk inside and seek truth, but be warned. The future can change in the blink of an eye.
To see the sky, feel once more the wind and the sun. Although my nation is drowned, the slow blood still pulses in its veins. Or was once the heart of Tyria, so full of life. I was the last of a line of proud rulers. Now my nation is enslaved. What do you seek here? Or has nothing left to give, save ash and bones.
We came to fight Zaitan. Can you give us counsel?
Zaitan can be defeated, but that will not save Or. The land must be cleansed of this poison. Seek the source.
Is Zaitan the source, or is there some other poison that fouls ore? Please, tell us.
Seek the source. Cleanse ore. Seek the source.
You guys ready? Well, we got an airship overhead. I like to think maybe we just arrived on that. No dragons in sight anywhere. That's good. Couple of choppers nearby too. You ready for this, Caraflower? You're stepping into uncharted waters. So far forward in the story now. It's really surreal to be here, guys. Hey, who have we got? Well, some Crusaders. Laranth is here. It's good to see you. We just hung out with you on the last story step quite a lot. A character we've never met before. Havrun Gretchen. Well, what's a Havrun? We don't really know. Gretchen, we don't really know. I'm sure it doesn't matter.
Consider me an ally.
I do consider you an ally, Laranth here. Hey, Traherne, who are these people?
Greetings, Commander. This is Havrun Gretchen, one of the spirit shamans of Holbrek. And you already know War Master Larenthir of the Vigil.
You're an inspiration, Commander. Many believe that if we can defeat Zaitan, Jormag will be next. Your deeds bring great hope to the Norn.
Indeed. Silvari sing of your victories, and even the Char raise battle cries in your honor. You've been a spark to many flames.
I hope today will bring another victory for Tyria. Marshal Traherne, what's our goal?
I have created a ritual that might cleanse a dragon's corruption. If it succeeds, this mission could be a turning point in the war. My research suggests that the royal tombs were deeply sacred. They may still hold the connection I need to restore the land with Or's fading life force. If the dragon discovers our attempt, he'll try to stop us. Havrun, you and Larenthir will defend the mouth of the tomb. Give us all the time you can.
We will, Marshal Traherne. By the bear, I swear we'll hold the line or die trying.
So you notice there, she's dressed full on like a bear. We're not going to get much time to talk about things. Traherne's going to move on and start delivering dialogue quite quickly, I think. Unless he holds still there for a second. Where did Lorantha go? Dude, I wanted to speak to you. Hold on, stay here. After all we've been through, we may be on the verge of cleansing Or. Robbed of his power base, Zaitan may simply crumble. So, yeah, I mean, where Traherne got the inspiration to create this ritual, who knows? We know he's very magically inclined. We've seen him cast rituals in the past. We've seen many rituals throughout the story. Apparently, we found a way that might be able to cleanse this. Be incredulous if you will, guys, but there it is. And so, yeah, what's the idea? If we can cleanse Or, then Zaitan can't tap into it for magic anymore, like the magic below the surface. And so then, we're already starving him from artifacts and stuff. If we cut off another power line for him, we're really softening him up for a proper kill, right? It might be possible, but it won't be easy, says Caraflower. So luckily, she seems incredulous too. All right, and if we look inside, it seems most of the people have cleared out here as we patrol on. I guess this is supposed to be kind of secretive. What you're about to watch is really a one-for-one recreation of what the dream showed us, except many months, feels like years, doesn't it, off in the future. You ready for this, Traherne? Forgive me if I seem distracted, Commander, but this is the culmination of my wild hunt. Where is he? Damn it, and now we can't speak to him. Stupid risen noble. I was trying to have a conversation. There we go. Say again? Forgive me if I seem distracted, Commander, but this is the culmination of my wild hunt. I'm about to answer my life's calling. It's both exhilarating and terrifying, and I'm here to see you achieve it. Well, and I suppose to an extent, every bit of success he sees, we interpreted our wild hunt as being this fight too, right? Not necessarily the cleansing of all. We could keep it however vague we like, but you know, this would be quite exhilarating for Caraflower too, I think, at the same time. So just some basic old Risen ambling about right now as we move into the Royal Tombs, which we already know the name of, remember. They're Azekabar. So here's a bit of a classic mechanic. You'll see that...
well done.
We killed the enemies and I ran ahead, but Traherne was still standing still. This is like a Guild Wars 1 style escort coding, which is that you have to be standing right next to him at certain phases, otherwise he won't move. So here there's an ambush, a back attack. I'm not too concerned with. We'll stand right in the middle, get our massive tether onto him, blow them all up. Now, if we can hit AoE like this as a Necro, every kill gives us more life force, meaning that, you know, that hardly even cost us any Shroud because we were snowballing kills as we were in there. People don't really think of Necro as a rampy, snowbally thing too often, but they really should.
We're clear. We need to keep moving. They won't just step aside. Get ready for a fight.
So the tomb is guarded. A-bombs, spectral guards. And so here you can maybe say that these are affiliated definitely with Zaitan because they're guarding it. Here are the graves that we pointed out all that time ago. You know, with the translatable New Crichton. I actually quite recently saw on the Doric Shrine up in Malkor's Leap, just like a scaled up version, if you will. So all the trivia I gave you about that is one for one still true. It's just we're here in the real world now. Jesus Christ, that frenzy built so fast. Okay, it's the entrance. How are we going to deal with this?
This is Azabe Kabar. Gretchen, you and Larenthir must hold the entrance. Zaitan's forces will be relentless. Our survival is in your hands.
I understand, Marshal Traherne, and I won't fail you. You'll have the time you need.
Oh my god, alright, so we have to leave them. Larenthir, I'm so scared of character deaths at this point. So we'll leave Larenthir. And mystery new bear-looking lady. Good luck. She's got a cool tattoo on her face, doesn't she? Well, those two are going to defend us. I mean, if I want anyone defending me at the gates at a narrow choke point, it's probably a Norn that believes in bear very heavily, right? And could commune and transform into bear. Larenthir with her is already a proven ally and soldier. And so I hope you're doing the right thing, gambling on these lives, Traherne. And it's just us and him. Once again, the dynamic duo. We've been through so many adventures where it's ended up just us again, just us again. Well, here is that same situation. I suppose actually we do have some other allies. What am I talking about? We got these crusaders and things. So you go into a creepy old tomb. First thing to fight are spiders. Makes sense to me. It gets all like green and horrible and toxic down here. I like to imagine that line of dialogue we heard a second ago about the air getting really thick and pressing against our face as we climb in. Where are you, Traherne? Are you back here again? Because it's the Guild Wars 1 style thing. You have to really escort him very closely. Otherwise, he doesn't want to move. So we have seen quite a lot of royal stuff going on. We've seen various princes of Ur, but we haven't really seen kings of Ur. And in the vision of this tomb, we saw the last king of Ur. Does that mean that's about to happen? Remember from those lore scrolls, we know his name, King Razor, right? Are we going to find King Razor in here? Is he going to make more sense than he did last time? Did last time even really happen? I mean, it was just a vision, and not everything's matched up one for one. Where was Traherne's galvanizing war cry at Jofast's camp? It didn't exist, right? Have we been led astray? He certainly doesn't seem motivated by that vision at all himself right now in the story, does he? He said he invented a ritual. Is he even thinking about it that much? The Pale Tree, frankly, didn't give us that much guidance, and we're so far away from her now that it's unlikely we can derive much more. Here we go, the side chambers. And this is it. The final big room. Oh, we got another little spider. Traherne sees him quicker than I do. Nice. Here it is. You get the two statues. I love these angelic statues. Look, you could just imagine it being underwater, right? With the coral upside down on the roof.
This is the place. We'll perform the ritual here. The moment we begin, Zaitan will know. Be ready for anything.
Defend Traherne as he performs the ritual. So the animation we see he's casting is actually a little bit similar to one we've seen before. But here it begins. So we get Corruptors. Zaitan is not going to be happy with this. He plunges Khaled Bolg into the ground, actually using this. Now you remember, the vision we got of this gave Traherne Khaled Bolg, but only at the end of the vision before we took out the gate guard. When we were actually given a vision of being in here, Traherne didn't have the sword yet, and he wasn't using the sword in here. So did the Pale Tree intend for this? Because he wasn't given this until later, if that all makes sense, right? Well, here we got a veteran risen Wraith. I like to think as we fight this Wraith, you've got to, like, consider it on a power level, story-wise, as, like, the one that killed Corporal Byrne, right? We should be really intimidated by a Wraith when we see one and think, oh my god, you know, boss fight level fear should be inside us. Our soldiers, by the way, didn't come all the way in. It is just us and Traherne in here. It's our job to defend the guy. We are the one-man army. I mean, we certainly are. I very much like to think about that with Carrot Flower. Uh-oh, it's Laranthir. Oh, and he's injured. Oh, and he's being chased by a risen Gretchen.
Marshal, the rear guard is overwhelmed. Gretchen has fallen. Gretchen! No, not Gretchen. In the tortured remain. Commander, we must put her to rest.
Oh my god, she got slaughtered. Oh, poor Gretchen. So they transferred another Norn. Oh, look, 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 look. The ritual's going. The vines are coming out. Happy music. Did we do it? Oh, no. No, it failed. They moved back in.
No. We were so close. By the pale tree, it's impossible. All this, all these lives, wasted. All for nothing.
Traherne, didn't you see? The cleansing worked. For a moment, the spirit of the land rose up like a breath of wind.
We all felt it. It was as if Or's own soul was fighting to be free. The ritual was a success.
But the absolution didn't hold. Though sacred, the royal tombs weren't strong enough. This isn't the heart of Or. I wonder if such a heart still exists.
Wait. Remember the vision that the pale tree gave us? An Orien king spoke of the source. Maybe that's something that can help.
You're right. The source of Or. Yes. I think I remember hearing about such a thing. A priestess of Grenth and a shaman of the Norn spoke of it.
Those sound like solid leads. Which should I follow?
That, my friend, I shall leave to you. 2 roads to the same goal. The cleansing of Or, and eventually Zaitan's own demise.
Oh my god, okay, there's a ton to say. So here, first of all, let me say, as always, on paper, the story that the devs are trying to deliver, I love. I think so cool, right? You know, we're incredulous. This ritual seems to have come out of nowhere as Traherne really thought it through. And then it turns out he hasn't thought it through. This was all a waste. And Gretchen just dies there, you know. Another loss. Maybe we could even say some of these generic NPCs fell in the pursuit of this plan. And it's kind of like a big failure. And it would wear heavily on your conscience here at the end. But it's like they were obviously time crunched when making this. And because this isn't the final instance, we're getting really close to the end of the game, right? But because we're not actually at the end of the game, there needed to be a cutscene here. And they clearly didn't have time to put a cutscene. So you got to watch really closely. The vines come out and then they like recede. I really hope that was clear and you guys could see that. Because this was never telegraphed that well. There could have been a sound effect. There could have been screen shake. There could have been the dragon roaring. Any of that. And it's just kind of not there. So, but the idea is really cool. You know, we think that this is a place of power where we can cleanse Or. And it's not. But I kind of wonder on paper with the story as well. What do you mean, Traherne? You already knew about a Norn and a shaman, and you already knew about a priestess? What? You heard the vision as well about the source of all. Why weren't alarm bells ringing before? Jesus. All right, so we've tipped him off, and maybe it does work. I like the fact that like all of the characters here felt some like life in the world. You know, maybe that idea of the atmosphere pressing in on us just moved away for a second, and it was like our first breath of air as we awake from a coma or something, right? And then it's just snatched away again. How you would visually show that in game, I don't know. But it's a great little instance and idea here. So Laranthir, dude, you were defending? You managed to get away? Dark power suffuses this place like a mephitic fog. I can almost feel the spirits of the Orien kings. They may still be here. Stay alert. Yeah, and we don't get to speak to the king. There is no king here, right? So how true was the dream? I mean, it's very cool what the devs are doing here because you'd think it's just all going to come to pass. And yet some of it has and some of it hasn't. And you got to really think carefully about that. Are we destined to meet King Razor ever? Well, time will tell. So we're going to speak to Traherne. And he says, you're right, Caraflower. The pact stands between Tyria and destruction. We cannot give up. For a moment, I lost my faith. The ritual worked, Traherne. We just need to find the source of Or. So we can think of this entire war effort as still being worth something as long as we can find the source of Or, and it's clearly not this. Agreed. And I know of 2 ways to proceed. We could appeal directly to the old gods of Or, specifically Grenth, or we could recover a legendary magic map to guide us. So, I just want to be clear about the gravitas here. This is the final decision in the personal story. In the personal story, there are 308 different decisions and backstories and routes through. They boil down to this. Okay, and they both sound pretty good, don't they? So hold on, how can Grenth help? The ancient priests of Grenth was said to be the keeper of Or's deepest secrets. We'll find them in Or's Cathedral of Silence. It's a terrifying place, half shrouded in the mist. So there's this sense of Grenth being related to secrets here. I wonder if after Abaddon fell and lost Dominion, Grenth kind of took that on. But there is a bit of a mystery about Grenth's origin and stuff, and clearly there was this struggle between he and Doom, and what's Dwayne and Malkor's relevance in that, so maybe these are the secrets of which we talk. But yeah, the Cathedral of Silence. We've seen all the cathedrals, guys. Balthazar was first, then we saw Lyssa, then we saw Dwayne, and we've just passed Melandru, where there's been a hell of a lot of risen, and we basically seared with the cauldron. But we've just passed Melandru. The only one further away now is Grenth. That's the last cathedral, and Grenth, the god of death, I think it's very fitting that they leave that last, considering the Elder Dragon of Death is here. And then they have this beautiful description here, that it's a terrifying place half shrouded in the mists. So the game doesn't actually really show that. It only kind of exists as a piece of lore within this dialogue box. But I love the idea of, in the future, we get to go to the mists in the story. I don't know under any capacity, but maybe we get to go to the underworld or something, and you find the other half of the cathedral sunken down. If the devs don't do that at some point in the future, should we go to the mists? I think that's such a missed opportunity. What about this legendary map then as well? An ancient Norn explorer, Romke, was trapped in Or when Zaitan rose beneath his ship. Legend says that his map was blessed by all 4 spirits of the wild, and it can show the route to any destination. So this is like a big classic kind of adventure style thing here. So wait, well, I'm really scared to click this top option right now because the equivalent has this icon suggesting it will take you into the next thing. So I don't want to do Romke's thing. I think Caraflower, Necromancer, she's got at least some cursory interest in the gods. And our plan is actually to speak to them, but I thought they'd abandoned Tyria. I thought they had no interest. Can Grenth actually help us find the source of Or and cure it?
We were so close. Closer than ever before, but we cannot give up hope. My wild hunt is not in vain. This is a challenge we can overcome. You have my gratitude, Commander, for all you've done.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate that. So there you go. Mission complete. Now, I've got some pretty interesting little trivia for you guys here. You'll notice we get a choice of 2 different staffs, and then we get experts crafting material and more bags of loot. You'll see that these staffs say required level 80, and you'll see on the top right that the mission says required level 80. Funnily enough, this is, and you'd expect that because we're at the end of the game, right? And we've been doing level 80 story stuff for ages. However, funnily enough, for many years throughout, just a weird bit of nerdy trivia, for many years throughout Guild Wars 2's life, this mission has randomly been at level 70 instead, and you'd weirdly get level 70 loot at the end of this mission, which obviously you don't want. The reason for that was because at some point through the development, they'd reshuffled all the story steps around in a really bizarre way, and this accidentally stayed at level 70 for a long time. But they fixed it now, very recently too, and I'm really happy that it's fixed by the time we get to play it. So anyway, I'm going to pick up clerics or assassins. Let's pick up the assassin stuff. It's actually much better than the one we already have, so let's equip that on Caraflower here. She's got the Coden one, but it's only white rarity. This one is got way higher stats on it because it's actually rare rarity. So yeah, we'll grab that. That seems pretty good to me. And what do you have to say, Traherne, about our plan? He says, forgive me if I seem distracted, but this is the culmination of my wild hunt. So he didn't actually update, and the Ranthir, I guess, didn't either. So there you have it, guys. A kind of a pulling the rug out from under us mission, where they play up to, oh, it's going to end, we've got the big moment, and then it just gets snatched away. But hope ever lies. All we got to do is go to this cathedral and find directions to the true source of it, wherever that may be. And it might be interesting for you guys to know that we were actually very close to it at one point already, over the episodes. Can you guess where? Well, if not, I'll see you next time, and we'll see what we can find out in the cathedral.
The ritual must be performed near water, and I believe the nearby beach is ideal.
You've heard the stories they tell about our leader?
Assuming even half are true, it seems unlikely that even Mackle could have survived all that.
He seems determined to keep risking his life and ours. Why else would he lead us to set up camp in this place?
He does seem to know something about beating the odds. Maybe there is a profit here worth the risk.